tell the people. All right, and agree with me, Aaron, if you believe it's true. These companies break the law so much because it's less than 1% of the people who actually fight back. Do you think that's true?
I will tell you, you need to change that less than 1% to less than 1/1000th of a percent. It is
Yeah.
way lower. So we talked about Midland credit earlier. Let me just tell you a little bit of secret. And again, this is some industry secrets that not a lot of non-lawyers are going to know. So let's say Midland buys an old Capital One debt that's $5,000. What do you think Midland pays for it when they
Hold
buy
on,
that?
Aaron.
Yeah.
Before you give that answer, everybody hit that like button and share it to 5 people.
Yes. Amen. So this is so important. This is the secret about this whole industry that you need to know. Midland generally pays between 3 and 7% for a debt. So let's just play that out. $1,000 debt, Midland's going to pay $30 to $70 for. A $5,000 debt, it's just going to 5x that, right? So they spend so little on this bad debt, and then they just come after you for the whole amount. So again, let's just use that example. Midland buys an old Capital One card that's allegedly a $5,000 debt owed to Capital One, right? They might only pay $200 for that. But then they're going to come after you for the full $5,000. It's an insane industry because they make so much money. And again, the owners of Midland are on their yachts laughing at us right now. They don't care what we're doing because they make enough money because what you said, Mike, less than 1/1000th of a percent of people fight back. Because we're not talking about people that fight back finally when they get sued or when they notice errors in their credit report. I mean, just think of how many people pay debt collectors day in and day out, or just roll over when they're sued and get defaults. So there's just so much power here. I'm so glad you said that because like Midland is a good example. These players are just paying so little for these bad debts, and it gives us so much flexibility because they just don't follow the law. Excuse me. They're making too much money. And this is another secret. I've been told, I'm not going to mention any companies, that it is far cheaper for them to settle my lawsuits and all the other lawsuits that my colleagues bring than it is to fix the problems. Said differently, people on this call, they don't care about us. They don't care about you. They don't care about your family, your friends. They just care about making money. They know that they're going to ruin lives. They don't care because it's cheaper for the 1/1000th of a percent to fight back to pay them out because they're laughing to the bank at the other 999 people that they just got to take advantage of. So yes, way less than 1% of people fight back.
So
is that the same thing for Experian, Insurance Union, Equifax, and all these other?
Oh, absolutely. I could throw a whole boot camp, a whole conference on this stuff, as you guys know. But yes, the bureaus, absolutely. They have developed systems. The dispute system itself, the whole thing we're kind of talking about here, right? Which is the process by which, how do you fix something on your credit report? How do you demand something gets fixed or deleted? Is by way of disputing, right? Everyone on this call has to at least know that. You have to dispute to get something removed. But how many people on this call know that the bureaus have created their own separate company called eOscar? And all it is basically computer systems talking to other computer systems. When you dispute, there's barely any human involvement. All it is one computer talking to the next. And that's why you get back those verifications. That's why everything is verified. The system is literally set up to fail because it's cheaper to pay out lawsuits than it is to fix these problems 100% of the time. So we've been talking about how to fix and some tools. Let's also talk about the power of these laws. So it's not just that when we sue these folks, the debt collectors, the credit reporting agencies, that we're going to get the trade lines deleted most often. We're also going to get damages for the clients. That's the other great part about using litigation-backed credit repair is it's not just letters to get deletions. We are actually not only getting the fixes and the deletions, we're getting compensation for the consumers. And that's what these laws provide. Sometimes we're talking life-changing numbers. I'll just give you an example. We had a client who called a couple of years ago. He was being sued by a big bank. I almost messed up and said the bank. And it was a debt he never owed. He was the victim of identity theft. And he called me up. He was so distraught. He was just going to pay it. He's like, you know what? It's only $5,000. Let me just pay it. I just want to move on with my life. It's on my credit report. I've never missed a payment in my life. I'm just going to pay it. Hold on. So glad he called me, because instead of paying that $5,000, he has now earned over $500,000 in our identity theft lawsuits that we have filed against the big banks and the credit reporting agencies. Because time and time again, when we try to dispute, when we send police reports, when we send evidence that that consumers don't owe these debts, again, the system is set up to fail. So we had this poor client who didn't owe this money, who was sued on a debt he didn't owe, thinking, I'm just going to have to pay these bad people to go away. And instead of that, we disputed several times. We got it taken care of. Certainly he's never going to be sued for that debt again. It's off his credit report. And we literally put enough money in his pocket that his wife was able to quit her job, and then their whole life has changed. So that's what we're talking about here is identity theft. There are big cases, not just small issues that we can get things deleted with, but we're talking changing lives, getting people into their first house, their first job, getting new credit after college for the first time. These companies, like I said, they just don't care. And until we make them care.
Wow. Hey, Dave, go ahead, Dave, man. I got to let you go because I got a lot to say.
Go ahead.
Oh, what I want to do is I want to ask the audience. I need to know, if the audience does have bad credit or whatever. If you got a collection on your credit report, if you drop a 1, if we can get more than 20 people to drop a 1, we'll show you guys how to work with Aaron, and we might actually do a couple of you guys for free. So if y'all drop a 1 in the chat, I just need to know how many people are actually want to get help. Because like Aaron said, this is not going to be a quick or fast process, but it's going to be legally backed process, I guess, right?
Exactly.
Because you guys can watch the videos all day. You guys can send the dispute letters. Me and Dave get y'all comments, and we want to help y'all as much as y'all want the help. But the only thing that me and Dave really want to do now is we want to work with lawyers to get you guys results, because on our own, we can't do anything if you get sued. I had a lady come to me and she used our methods and she got her results. She got a house, but then it was a collection letter that came to her house. You get the items removed, but you don't remove the debt unless you litigate.
Exactly.
Aaron, can you talk about that a little bit?
I'm so glad you said it. You put it in a much better way than I tried to earlier, because I called it finality. So you're exactly right. Credit repair, whether it's the best, most ironclad method, if it gets a deletion, great. But there's always something called reinsertion, and that is something that happens in this space all the time. We call it zombie debts. Debts never really die. They always come back to life. So if you get something removed temporarily, that's great. The score might go up, but who's to say that debt doesn't come back when it's sold off again or goes to another collector, or another one. So you're exactly right. What we are able to give, what separates litigation-backed credit repair from just other credit repair models, is there's a signed settlement agreement at the end, and that's a new contract that sets, terms between the parties. And that term is always going to be, there's no more debt. It's almost always going to be deleted off the credit report. Sometimes the debt, we get forgiven a lot of money, but if it's not even a lot of money, these cases can still have a lot of value. But you're right, litigation, suing, having lawyers in your back pocket, that's the way you get the true finality. It's gone forever. And if it's not, if it pops back up after we've settled it, well, now we're just seeing money signs, because that case just doubled, tripled, quadrupled in value the second time we have to sue.
Okay. All right, y'all. So I just put the